3. Methane. The harvesting of methane, natural gas, from crustal gas fields must phase out in 10 years. All methane must be produced by controlled anaerobic means, biogas. Nearly all home heating must be electric within 10 years. Biodiesel may also be sparingly used as a direct heat source, or to power a generator, which in turn powers electrical heat. The use of natural gas will be used only in special cases, such as certain chemical reactions which must utilize it, and will be strictly monitored. 4. Chemicals. The modern chemical industry is almost entirely an extension of the oil industry. The largest portion of this entity has no concern for orchestrating its activities in harmony with nature or for the benefit of human evolution. As long as it makes the largest possible profit in the shortest amount of time, no matter how many men or how many parts of the earth are diseased and destroyed, it has accomplished its desire. These thoroughly ignorant souls would dissolve the entire earth and all of mankind in their crucibles for an ounce of gold, even to their own blind destruction. Their minds are focused strictly on personal gain. Not even the well-being of their own children, who will inherit the earth they poison, enters into their confined minds. Their concern for emissions, dumping of wastes, and testing of any chemicals they create thoroughly for human safety goes only as far as their bribed regulation agents insist, which is not even a half a step in the right direction. As long as their new, unnatural, and unnecessary product sells, and sells big, giving raises to their executives and bonuses to their scientists, none of them care of the effects of their deeds, regardless of what they tell the public. They have become so huge that a $1 million fine is nothing to them. For a sole proprietor, fines as this would destroy such a small business for life. Thus, justice accidentally ensures the chemical giants clear territory. This instills fearlessness from these monsters from the tiny stings which justice can inflict. Furthermore, being that a large portion of all of their products come from oil, which most modern-day politicians, knee-deep in it, protect their alchemical brethren by slyly delaying what little justice can do. Diverting the eyes of the innocent public, answering their cries with impotent circular speeches and actions, their pockets overflowing with payoffs, mocking all that the title of their position, representative of the people, stands for, as they are caressed by their blind masters like a rabid dog beside the throne. Completely numb to morals and love for their fellow man, these beasts see the people just as what they call them, consumers. And in the title that they give their fellow man, they openly admit their disrespect. Their household cleaners leave chemical residue behind more dangerous than the dirt they were intended to remove, when all that was needed was water or plant oils. Their pesticides, DEET and Anvil, pushed with an industry-induced global scare, such as the infamous West Nile virus, frightening the people into buying their product as a magic bullet. Note, AIDS may be no different. Of the 3 million that die of AIDS each year, how many of them were taking supposed medicine? Large chemical companies such as DuPont, Eastman Kodak, Syngenta, Monsanto, Dow, BASF, and Bayer, etc., should be forbidden to use any chemical for any reaction if that chemical or product is in any way, to the smallest degree, hazardous or not found in significant quantities in nature. These companies constantly spill and secretly cover up their grossly unnatural substances, endangering all forms of life in many unforeseen and unpredictable fashions, above and beyond the few known or admitted ailments which they cause. The only few spills the common man hears about are the ones in which some eyewitness happened to see, or in an area too populated to conceal. By setting these strict standards, it would force corporations to use their scientists to make all discoveries in harmony with nature, opening a great door to the future of chemistry. One of their biggest products is plastic. Plastics exist simply for haste and merchandising reasons. Hastily created from oil to ensure the quickest profit, it is then turned around to a merchandiser just as hasty to implement it. The merchandisers are likewise concerned more with their profit than with the buyer's health or that of the environment, seeking only easier, cheaper, and faster packaging and production. At all costs, their product must stay fresh and look good, regardless of if it is either. This haste of creation and implementation generates a haste of usage, which is the seed and foundation of the disposable attitude of much of the modern world. A disease given to them by the need suppliers, who would have the entire earth covered over with heaps of garbage, and smile because for every discarded object there is a penny in their abysmal pockets. With proper thought, plastics could be replaced by bioplastics, or specifically bred plants to make new durable woods and pulps, eliminating plastics altogether. These solutions may be more time-consuming, yet are definitely an advanced and more intelligent solution of the higher individualist mind. The wisdom of the individualist creates products and fuels which are endlessly reusable and biodegradable in a reasonable time frame, without profit being the primary focus. Woods will last as long as they are cared for. This is all the longer that any object needs to last, else one simply builds with stone, as the nearly immortal pyramids profess. The plastics are a danger outside of the human body, but much territory still remains to be destroyed. These feverish scientists advance their shambling kingdom to the very bodies of men with their unnatural patented potions and have him ingest them and cover his body with them, all the while lying about how helpful and wonderful their new substance is and the depth of the safety research they have performed, hiding the chemical's origins and effects, that is, if they even endeavored to exhaustively ascertain all of its effects. Great portions of flavors, fragrances, and colors are made from petroleum chemicals, such as the popular synthetic vanillin, synthesized from the petrochemical precursors, glycol and glyoxylic acid. If it is not to falsify the food's look, smell, and taste, it will be made unnaturally imperishable. Harmful preservatives are placed in food, clearly known to be capable of harm, yet are not listed in the food's ingredients because of FDA loopholes, which these butchers have created and paid for. They jeopardize the life of every individual who supports their empire by eating the product, just to make their product last forever. This allows laziness and irresponsibility on their part, because they need not worry about efficient transit and logistics, or an excellent product to make a quick sale for a perishable item. Instead, their practically imperishable poison can wait on shelves for eternity for an unsuspecting victim, while their profits from minimized product urgency measures soar. Sadly, even the words green and herbal or organic merely prey upon ignorance when many of these products have numerous petroleum byproducts and lab-manufactured chemicals in them, or if not, are packaged in plastics. But behold, pharmaceutical companies are at the bottom of this pit of treachery, creating concoctions for human consumption in the blasphemous guise of healing, with their side effects greater than the disease they claim to treat and understand. The side effects are foolproof of their complete misunderstanding of the human physical body, which they arrogantly believe that they understand. With prescription and retail sales at 200 billion each, and distribution reaching 140 billion, this den of scorpions desires no cures, for that would place them immediately out of business. They are the creators of propaganda, inventing numerous phantom ailments, nearly all of which could be self-cured by a simple natural diet, plenty of water and exercise, combined with deep breathing and conscious relaxation. They care not about the dangers of the side effects of their product, for they will make a product to cure that also, it too with its own side effects, and on through a murderous money-making cycle. Their scribes and professors are the dukes and barons of lie, licking their masters' hands clean with forked tongues and shining their gilded masks with their sweet venom. Worse than the lowliest street drug pusher, they convince all men that any feeling is a disease for which they have the magic pill. Through this method, much of mankind has been led to believe that they are merely weak and fragile animals and have lost sight of their powerful immortal spirits. Man has gone thousands of years without drugs and supplements, and now suddenly in the last 100 years they have become essential. The pharmaceutical industry practices only madness, for they claim the ineffectiveness of natural remedies, yet market vitamins and minerals and attempt to alter them and natural extracts so that they can patent them for their own exclusive sales. The Populus laboratories will be created and directed by the people for logical and sane applications with regard for only the advancement of humanity, not personal profit and exploitation of the ignorant. They will be unhindered by illusions and stumbling blocks of altered facts, figures, and distorted reason, all of which are only erected to lead man away from truth and into the lairs of pirates. Thus, populist scientists will not be limited by corporate agendas and similar selective funding, accelerating the growth of rational science. 3. Transportation. The invention of the car made placement of developments haphazard and impractical. People drive for miles to go to one store and often get their produce shipped to local stores from the other side of the nation. This overage of travel, individual and commercial, is a waste of energy, time, average commute is 104 hours per year, and a source of pollution. This is greatly reduced by self-sufficiency in 3 ways. 1. The individual is employed by oneself, not having to travel to work, being that one's homestead is one's work. 2. One needs not travel as often to procure products as one produces them oneself. 3. This reduced demand and market for products causes companies to focus only on their localities, thus travel less, as profit in distant markets has lessened. Furthermore, if individuals choose to work for another, where able, employers should encourage employees to work from home. Many U.S. houses are empty in the day, while the places of business are filled, and at night the situation reverses. Obviously, there is a large amount of structures using up land and energy, mostly climate control, that do not need to be, empty half of their existence, and people moving back and forth between them. Not only will this save travel energy, but also places of business would save money by not having the expense of a secondary building. In this same way, many service companies who travel all day long would be downsized by individuals servicing all of their own needs, such as trees, landscape, minor construction, etc. Lastly, if all vehicles were fully electric, and the people generating most of their own power, there would be zero emissions from the remaining commercial and personal travel, such as businesses which cannot be performed from home, mass ore smelting, Populus assembly lines, etc. People who choose to live far from their occupation, or an occupation erecting a place of business in a remote area. But beware, by prematurely making it law to have zero emissions or fully electric vehicles, one only assists the profit of the private car makers, granting them an excuse to sell electric cars 2 or 3 times their worth, creating a haven for the bankers. There must first be an erected facility owned and controlled equally by all of the people of the Union without representatives. It will be erected by a small contribution from every working citizen, for example $10, and create, at cost, fully electric vehicles. Only then can strict laws on zero emissions be made. Strict emissions themselves will discourage the production of the internal combustion engine, for it will become more expensive than the fully electric car in its attempts to achieve zero emissions, or ultra-low emissions. A. Railroads. Out of sight and out of mind, few see these massive payloads multiple times per day being constantly consumed behind the scenes. With the increased focus on localized shipping caused by self-sufficiency, businesses will rely more on the railroad for shipping long distances. This will give the railroads free rein to spike transportation costs. Therefore, railroads cannot be privatized. Just as a highway cannot be privately owned, or rights granted to any citizen to build their own private highway wherever they may choose. Similarly, any free citizen cannot build rails wherever they wish. Thus, the limited places allotted to rails are already owned, creating a monopoly, as it excludes any other from the freedom of the same practice. This allows control over the prices of goods distributed to the people. Furthermore, if rails were to remain private, the implementation of the individualists' excess land tax would cripple them, causing them to again raise the prices to the people, who would not accept them, freezing transport. Thus, the Populus rails will be an at-cost service, and their thoroughly itemized bottom line will be annually reported to the people.